Kia ora tātou, welcome back to the Wargaming Den. Another game of Kings of War. This week's game sees my Varangur taking on Gordon's Ogres. The mission we're playing is Invade, and as usual we're playing at 2,000 points. Let's have a look at my list this week. We've got a tournament coming up. Our third Oamaru Onslaught that we've held is later on this month, so just playing around with a few options for the Varangur leading up to that. I am taking 2 regiments of Night Raiders with the Wolf Handlers upgrade, so they get Scout and also have an aura of Vicious Melee for the Tundra Wolves. And I think that also affects themselves. The Huskars with the Mead of Madness, a good solid centre. I like the Huskars even though they're a bit slow. 2 regiments of Mounted Sons with the Guys of the Deceiver, so they have stealthy. Tundra Wolves, taking 2 troops this week. Last week I took the regiments and really enjoyed those, but just want to play around with chaff a wee bit. I'm not very good at using chaff. Last week I painted up a Frost Giant, came from a Kickstarter a few years back from Reaper Bones, and yeah, he makes a nice centerpiece. So not sure if he'll stay there for the tournament. He may become a 3rd regiment of Sons of Korgan, we will see. Other late minute addition was throwing in a Magus. He's got Lightning Bolt, and also gave him Alchemist Curse. Not quite as cool as having it on the Elves, but makes quite a nice can opener, so I want to try him out. I've taken a Lord on foot with the Devoted icon, which gives an aura of Stealthy to Barbarians, and then I've got 2 Thanes on Frostfangs with Snow Foxes. So that's my army. It's about 18 drops and 12 units. Okay, let's have a look at Gordon's list. And here we have Gordon's list this week. He's done a few different versions of his Ogre army. He started out with the chariots, and then he went for a bit of shooter spam, and now he's got what I think is pretty much quintessential Ogre list. He's got the Boomers, he's got 3 warrior regiments, he's got a horde of siege breakers, a regiment of Boomer chariots with the Sacred Horn that gives a really good stealth bubble to most of his units. He's got Manny the Mammoth, the big deal, so brutal 2 to himself and 1 other unit. The Crocodile Wrangler that does a lot of work for him usually, very handy. Then he's got 2 sergeants with heavy crossbows. I really like the elite upgrade they gave to the sergeants in the latest tweaks to the rules. That really works well for them. And then he's got the Warlock Ogres, each with Lightning Bolt and Drain Life, so he can throw out about 18 Lightning Bolts around, all going well, and 24 Drain Life potentially. So a lot of firepower there between the Warlocks, the Sergeants, the Boomers, and the Boomer chariots aren't to be sneezed at either. So a lot of shooting, but also a couple of really hard hitting units as well. Okay, the mission we're playing is Invade, so basically we've got to get over halfway by the end of the game. This is deployment just after my scouts had advanced. I deployed my scouts first. Gordon decided to deploy in just 1/3 of the table with a lot of depth. I haven't got all his units there, but anyway, so we've got my scouts here, got my cavalry units backed up by the Tundra Wolves with Thane and the Frost Giant there as well, and then over here I had the Huskars and the other Thane, and I've got my Lord and my Wizard with them. I've really just wanted to hold along this line here with these guys for most of the battle, and then hopefully advance later on and see if I could do some heavy lifting here. Can't really see where everything is, but there's a couple of Warlocks in here. There's a Sergeant tucked in back there as well. There's the Boomers and a regiment of warriors, Boomer chariots, siege breakers there. Manny's tucked in under here. More warriors here, Warlock and Sergeant. So there's got to be another regiment of warriors in here somewhere as well. Yeah, and this shot is a bit easier to see Gordon's deployment. So we've got warriors, we've got looks like a sergeant there and another warlock. Oh, the other warriors are there, so he's got 2 on the side. Siege breakers, chariots, warlock, Manny, boomers and the other warriors tucked in there. And let's have a look at the first turn. So Gordon got the first turn and advanced a little, and then just proceeded to lightning bolt my Thane over here with as much as he could. I'm height 4, the hill's height 3, so he was able to see me. Did quite a few wounds on my Thane, and then I advanced onto the hill here and put the Frost Giant directly in line of sight of all the shooting. So that was not very smart of me at all, as it turned out. And the other mistake I made, probably two of many, was I should have left a gap here for the Tundra Wolves, so that they could maneuver a bit easier. It meant that I wasn't able to turn to charge on my next turn. It was a bit of a major faux pas there. Advanced out of the woods over here, trying to get some shots in here at the sergeant, and I pretty much stayed still here, but sent the Lord out just to threaten the warriors down here. So not a great deal of action on the first turn. As you can see here, I think I'm just out of charge range of the sergeant. And just a bit of a showing the roadblock I gave myself. Gordon decided to use some warriors as chap to block the lines here. The sergeant was there. He advanced his boomers as well. A lot of shooting at my Frost Giant, who had no cover from anything. He ended up on about 10 wounds, which was far from ideal. But yeah, the rest of Gordon's army just stayed pretty close to the woods to minimize the impact of any charges from my cavalry units. And from a slightly different angle here, so yep, so Gordon's keeping his battle lines intact over here and just starting to offer a bit of layered chaff for the Frost Giant. What I wanted to do was to actually charge off this way somewhere with my Sons of Gorgon, which would have freed the wolves up to charge in here, but because I put them right behind each other, that meant that I'd well and truly screwed up what I wanted to do. So yeah, bit of a major mistake there from me. And from a slightly different angle with the newly painted Frost Giant, who I think looks pretty cool. I've added to him of he's got magnets in his feet, so he can come off this base easily enough. And this is just a bit of bark that I sealed. To seal it, I just use PVA glue, and once that dries, it makes a nice firm bond. If you don't do that with bark chip, the bark tends to flake over time. And then this is just the basing that I've done for this army. I wanted to kind of have a swampy tundra ancient battlefield where there's skulls littered about everywhere as well. Really happy with the way it's turned out. I think it looks very cool, even if I do say so myself. And what did I do in my turn? Well, as you can see, I got a charge out over this way. Decided the Huskarls to take the bait and charge the sergeant here. I didn't even waver him, unfortunately. And over here I threw in the Thane on the Frostfang and also my Lord, and against the other unit of warriors, and I don't think I did much to them either, unfortunately. And because he had 10 wounds on him and I knew it wasn't going to last very long, I just threw the Frost Giant down to kill the warriors, which he did, and then he advanced as far as the sergeant over here, and I just sent my wolves out around the flank this way to see what would happen, and advanced my Well, they night raiders this way, get them up closer to halfway really. So Gordon was just checking whether or not he had a flank charge here on my Sons of Corgan. This is right at the beginning of turn 3, and as you can see there, yes indeed, I think my Sons of Corgan are in a lot of danger. They killed the stealth chariots, the boomer chariots, and as you can see, I was just figuring out the charge angles for Manny more than anything, and also the siege breakers. I knew I wasn't going to get out of angles of everybody, but it was worth a crack. Okay, and as you can see, sure enough, Gordon got the boomers into the flanks, and he got Manny into the front of my Sons of Gorgon. They weren't going to have a very good day as a result of that. Sent the siege breakers in against my Huskars as well. Came also, and I think he also just managed to get these guys attacking the Huskars as well. So the is that the sergeant back there, or no, he's back there. So I managed to waver the sergeant, but didn't do enough to kill him, unfortunately. So I well and truly sacrificed my Huskars for nothing, as it turned out, because they weren't going to survive that. They weren't going to survive that. I think things went all right over here, though. And I think he threw the sergeant in against my frost giant as well. And just a bit of a close-up before my units exploded. Yep, wasn't going to end well for either the Sons of Corgan or the Huskars by the looks of that. And sure enough, this is my turn 3. Oh, what's this over here? Oh dear, poor old Manny. So what happened is my Thane over here just had an angle to be able to hit Manny, and these wolves over here were the same. So I managed to actually get a double charge against Manny on both flanks and took care of him quite nicely. I lost my Thane over here. Did a few wounds here. My other Thane on the Frostfang was just fighting here, and don't think did anything to that sergeant. That sergeant became a real pain in the butt. We've got the Warlock battery back here still, and a wavered Warlock back here. Might have been a lightning bolt from the sky, maybe. And the Sons of Corgan go charging in here, and I think they take out the boomers as well. So pretty brutal turn for both of us, that one. It was, yeah, a lot of action. Okay, so I lied. Sergeant is still fighting here. Can't have done enough wounds. No, they are. They're wavered. I did 11 or something by the looks of that. And the boomers are wavered, so they couldn't do anything, and they couldn't really get out of the way. But my Thane over here did manage to get the siege breakers charging into his flank. They've actually taken some damage. I actually cast Alchemist Curse on them, did about 6 wounds, but Eeny and Meeny and Miney over here, the 3 of them with their drain lives start draining my units, and by the end of the game the siege breakers were back to 0. Nothing more frustrating when you're not the ogre player than seeing a unit of siege breakers with quite a few wounds just get healed back to full strength during the game. It's a wee bit demoralizing. So I needed to avoid them and try and take out as many other units as I could. And so I'm still shooting over here at this guy. I think I'll charge in there and kill them. My Tundra Wolves got chucked in. He actually had a really good line through here, came charging through and took out my Thane. Thane wasn't going to survive the siege breakers and him at all, and he also managed to waver my lord over here and sent some warriors out to take on the Magus and turn off his spell casting as well. So I've down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 12 units. These ones are light and fluffy. They're going to get drain lived and taken off soon. This is the last of the hard hitting ones. These two can do some damage. I need to get them up towards the combats as fast as I can as well. That's looking a wee bit better. The boomers are gone. He's running around avoiding the whatever they are called, the warriors. Can't do anything here, unfortunately. And the dogs went into the whatever is the crocodile wrangler. Didn't do enough wounds to him, unfortunately. What I wanted to do was kill him and then advance into the siege breakers, but that didn't come off either. And I think I attacked the sergeant over here rather than the warlock. And by turn 5, there wasn't a heck left on the table. Managed to Alchemist Curse and Waver these guys here. My Sons of Korgan were still alive at this stage, but they're about to get drained, lifed to pieces, and got these guys onto the hill. I think these are the ones that actually helped to waver over here. With they did it one extra wound, just enough to force a test. But too many unit strength left really, because I'm down to 4. I've got 3, 5, 7 unit strength. He's got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's at least 6. The trouble with the ogres is you need to get stuck into the regiments and the hordes, and that leaves all these individual, well, they're not individuals, characters who all have unit strength as well. So there's a lot of things you have to deal with this army, and all the meantime you're getting drain lifed and lightning bolted as well. So it was a pretty brutal battle, but it was a heck of a lot of fun. And turn 6, the mounted sons have been drain lifed to pieces. So I'm just left with these 3 things here. Gordon actually ran out of time on his turn, being a bit tardy. No, there was a lot of stuff going on. We have I think we used 65 minutes, and he ran off the clock when the siege breakers were attacking my Sons of Korgan. But we carried on and finished the combat, and then they just relocated to make sure they were over halfway. These guys just took a random shot at someone. They couldn't get over halfway on a sideways move. So I ended up with 2 points over. Gordon had at least 5, maybe even 6 points over. So it was a close game. Turn 3 and 4 were especially brutal, but in the end, the game fell to the Ogres. And there we go. Victory to the Ogres, but that was one hell of a game. That was probably the most enjoyable game of Kings of War I've had in quite a long time. And I enjoyed them all, but maybe it was because this one was very, very close. Could have gone either way. Made a few mistakes, not allowing my Tundra Wolves to have a bit of maneuver space behind the Sons of Gorgon, for instance. But both of Gordon and I think played well. I was actually able to get into some flanks, which I don't manage to do very often against some of Gordon's armies. He's usually pretty good at protecting his flanks, but the mobility of those Tundra Wolves helped. Those Sons of Gorgon charging hit pretty hard. The Frost Giant was fun, but he was definitely a lightning bolt magnet, so I just have to be a bit more careful using him. The Magus, I think, was an interesting choice. I just wanted to have a wee bit of spell support. An Alchemist Curse is a spell that you've got to really be aware of. I haven't got the boots of levitation or a horse to make him more mobile and almost like a mini elven one. Just couldn't afford the points with that. I really just wanted to try him out. Ideally protected by my regiments and just firing at incoming troops as I advance and stuff, and it kind of worked, and I can see potential there, so I'll keep experimenting with that. Overall, happy with the list. Felt I used my chaff reasonably well when I was able to see opportunities and really like nimble with them. So I think I'm getting a wee bit better at using units like that. But yeah, as usual, Gordon played a good game. It's another solid list he's got there. I need to deal with those lightning bolt warlocks. I've got to watch out for many. The siege breakers can't be ignored, and you've also got to watch out for the warriors, because if they can get into flank positions, they hit just as hard as a horde. So it's another good solid army. That was a really close game, and looking forward to having another game soon. So thank you very much for watching. That's all this week. Ka kite anō.